Our first inductee. The first thing that jumps off the page about Rudy Berger is 12 letters. And if you played sports, you know that's a feat. It's one thing to special in one and get really good. It's another thing to be a three-sport athlete. And even that, a three-sport athlete itself is impressive. We're talking about 4 letters in 3 sports. I'm telling you, jumps off the page. And I speak as a former coach, and I speak as someone who has seen a lot of these applications come down the pike. So that's an attention getter right away. The other thing I can tell you about Rudy is that he is in a category. I put Rudy in a category. You know, you see a lot of athletes and your brain starts to go, okay, this one's, 4B. I've known people like that before. But this one is in a category in the extreme, and I'll tell you what I mean. People play sports for a lot of reasons. They get affirmation from talent that is a gift from God. And everyone says, wow, you can jump high. That's really cool. Well, what's the kid going to do? Keep jumping, right? Affirmation. Sometimes it's social. That's what their friends are doing, and that's what they want to keep doing. But then you get this young person that has this competitive spirit. I like to call it fire in the belly. There's just a passion, a fire in the belly. This is a fire in the belly like very few individuals I've talked with. You want evidence of it? This kind of fire in the belly actually doesn't go away. These athletes, these young people, carry it over into their professional lives. They become captains of industry. They become salespeople. They become all variety of folks, and they're still very competitive. I'm going to introduce you to someone who is the current champion in the CrossFit Games, current champion in the age group. So there is fire in the belly. And so Rudy lettered in cross country and in wrestling and in track and field, and was a state qualifier, not just a letterman. I focus on the 12 letters. Was a state qualifier in cross country, was a state qualifier in wrestling, and held a school record on a relay in track and field. So this is the kind of resume that not only is Hall of Fame worthy, I can tell you the committee is unanimous on this one. So it is my pleasure to present to you for induction into the Huron High School Athletic Hall of Fame, class of 2025, Rudy Berger.
Thank you, Paul. That was a lot. Fire in the belly. I'm gonna hang on to that one. That's pretty good. So, good evening, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee for bringing me into this elite group. It's an honor, and I'm really humbled. I just earlier sat back and reflected on all the folks that were called out, with the current Hall of Fame members, and I didn't recognize all of you, but I recognized all your names. So I haven't just seen you in a while, so it's good to see you and hear those names again. So congratulations to you all. It's good to be back in Huron. See a lot of familiar faces, familiar names. And I wanted to thank Adam Steinmetz. He actually wrote my nomination narrative, and I heard it was really well written, so that's pretty good because you are a teacher. I think your students check on that. So I want to just thank my family and friends for coming. Really appreciate you coming out here and supporting me. As I prepared to say a few words, I thought about the past and the present, the athletics in high school, and then what I'm doing now. And I really wanted to push the message across that I wouldn't be here today with a lot of special people that have been in my corner in high school and then in my corner today. And that's really the difference it makes to become just a high achiever in really sports, academics, and everything is the people behind you. So I want to recognize those people because that's what makes the difference. First of all, Bill and Cheryl, my parents. My mom's actually here tonight. Love you, Mom. They were the biggest supporters of me in junior high and high school, taking me to all the practices, buying me all the shoes, just doing everything that parents, loving parents do. And I just remember some really good stories. My dad would grill out after cross-country meets on the course, and sometimes you'd come across that finish line, you're like, oh, someone's cooking burgers. That was my parents. And then, they always had a cowbell at whatever, sporting event I had, and then every wrestling match, right when it started, I could hear Rudy coming from the stands from my dad, Bill. It meant a lot to have that support behind you. And then my mom, she actually went to all of my events when I was in high school, and still goes to all of my CrossFit events as an adult. So thanks, Mom, I appreciate it. She's actually the lady in the back with the fat head of my face. Thanks, Mom. So I want to recognize Coach Scott. Bill, I'm glad you made it out here tonight. Really appreciate it. And I heard you had 50 years of service recognized for the track and field and cross country. So congratulations to that. That's impressive. Really a legend. And I was just talking to my friend Steve Lovett here, who is a fellow member of my cross country team, how lucky we were to have Coach Scott as our coach. I mean, yeah, we learned about strategy and running, but he introduced us to the things that make sports performance really stand out, and that's like nutrition and recovery and sleep. Like, yeah, we go run, but eat pizza. It's like, no, you gotta run, eat some grilled chicken, some vegetables, right? I think you were talking about vegetables. And really, that's the difference when it comes to performance and standing out. Cross country's hard, and the lessons from the field, you take into life. And now I have the privilege of being able to share what Coach Scott taught me with my daughter, who's going through her own cross country journey. So that's right, Leah, all those cross country stories. So she's 15, she's pretty fast. I run with her occasionally, not on hard runs, but definitely easy runs. And then cross country team members, Seth Solberg, Steve Lovett, Warren Heminger, they adopted me when I was a freshman, and they were upperclassmen, and that it was such a good group of guys to, learn from, and that's from their high school days. You have friends that you still hang out with to this day, and there's a lot of value in that. So friends for life. I want to call out Coach Wayne Hamrock. He's not here tonight, but I understand he had 44 seasons of wrestling in Huron, and he was such a good technician for the sport, and I really appreciate that. And then Jimmy Swanbeck. He was like an assistant coach when I was in wrestling. And, sometimes not the head coach, not the assistant, just kind of the guy that's helping out will actually teach you the most in a sport, and you don't know that right away. And he was the first person that really taught or showed me that there's someone that can believe in you more than you believe in yourself. And I was kind of struggling my sophomore year because there's an upperclassman in my weight class, and I wanted that weight class, and I would do wrestle-offs, and he would beat me, and he would beat me. And finally, Jimmy sat me down and had some very strong words with me, and he's like, you're gonna kick his ass. And, we went on the next wrestle-off, and I don't know what happened, I think it might be that fire in my belly. And I kicked this upperclassman's ass, and it was just like, holy cow, this is real. This is, the confidence grew. So it was, I just valued that, someone was able to support me that enough to turn around my really wrestling career. So appreciate that. And then the Gunlock brothers. You guys know the Gunlocks. Rick Gunlock was the head coach. And my senior year, I was a pretty good wrestler, but I needed someone a little tougher. So Rick's brother Drew would come in, who's a legend of the sport, a legend of Huron wrestling, and he would come in and wrestle me for the season, and just point out he was 47 years old at the time. I'm 43, and I can't imagine stepping onto a wrestling mat right now. It was impressive. There's a funny story. He was actually ran into my parents at the store when I was in high school. And they look at him, they're like, Drew, what happened to your eyes? You got black eyes. And he's like, your son did that. It's kind of funny. So as Paul mentioned, I compete in the sport of CrossFit, and at an older age, I like to say. And it's if you guys aren't familiar with CrossFit, I don't know if it has the most positive, negative connotations, but it's wrestling, or not wrestling, it's gymnastics, it's weightlifting, it's really everything you can do in a gym or outside of a gym. Some people think it's preparation for the circus, but it's a very good fitness lifestyle. And the reason I bring that up is because it's, competing has shown me that, again, just like with my high school sports, like the support system is really the most important. And that's what you need to excel when you want to be at the highest level. So in my support system, my main team is here tonight. So my wife Lynette and my kids Leah and Mason. When I say team, I mean it. I mean they train with me. They do everything in their power to make sure I have all the right opportunities to be able to be my best from a competitive side. And it's really cool. They witness the highs and the lows of competing, of training, for trying to be the best at whatever your sport is, and I really appreciate that. And so when you fall short, it's that support system, it's those people that have seen you very dedicated in going after a craft that support you in those times of need. So it reminds me of the 4x800 relay that Paul mentioned we had the school record for. It was the regional finals for Ohio my senior year, and some good guys on the team put us into a state qualifying position, and I was the anchor leg. And I got that baton, and I ran the hardest 800 of my life. I think I PR'd 3 seconds. But when I crossed that line, we were 1 away from qualifying for state, which would have been much better to say, hey, I was a cross-country wrestling track state qualifier, but that didn't work out. But there are those moments where, you have a coach that when you cross that finish line, and yeah, maybe you fell short for qualifying for state, but they celebrate that success, and they tell you and they teach you to keep your head high. So again, the support system is what makes the difference. So closing out, I want to emphasize that when we compete, the end result, it isn't the most important part. It's about who you have around you, who is supporting you, and really, when you cross that finish line of whatever you do, they're there, to show you your love. I don't remember all my cross-country races or my meets, but I just remember the special people that were involved and to make that happen. And then, so as an adult competing in CrossFit, one of the best rewards of knowing that you have a support system, I had my good buddies from cross country show up at the first CrossFit Games event. And they had no idea what CrossFit was, but they didn't care. They wanted to be there to see me compete. They didn't know if I was going to win. They just wanted to support me. So those moments like that are just, that's what keeps you going. And the cool thing is they all started CrossFit shortly after that. And they've been doing it for a while, and they're fit. Every time I see them, they're more fit. And it's just really impressive. Right, Steve? Yeah. This guy's looking good. Eats his vegetables. So, they've told me that I inspire them, but they absolutely inspire me. So, one more thing, if you have a dream, if you have a goal, go after it. You're not too old. Don't wait. Try it. But to be successful, surround yourself with the people that believe in you and that you can rely on when the going gets tough. So I'm saying this with confidence because my wife, she many times believes in my success more than I do, or my confidence. And that's why I want to dedicate this induction to her. So thanks, Lynette. So yeah, cheers to health and getting better with age. Thank you.